Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, depending on when you're watching this, and welcome to another edition of Crossroads Community News. It's been a while since we've done a segment, but it's exciting to be back. And it's especially exciting because we got a special show for you today in honor of Celebration Sunday coming up this Sunday as Crossroads celebrates 23 years of being a church, being a family. We have something special in store for all of you on Sunday, but today we have something special as well. We are going to take a nostalgic tour of this church that we call Crossroads. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Mick as always.
Well, and as Cooper says, 23 years ago is prehistoric for Cooper. And for me, it just seems like that long, but it has been longer. And we're standing right now in the back of the old auditorium, or the building that was here, that was built in 1966, in which I, as a 12, 14-year-old, used to be riding my bike past this place. And what comes to mind for me is that if we were here 23 years ago, that window that's just right over this way, and Cooper, yep, there you go, that window had become a door. It started as a window, then it became a door, because right out here there was a ramp that went down so that you could have handicap accessibility from the parking lot in the back of the church. And then what happened was, because we were going to build the addition over here where you see the new doors, those doors weren't there. That was the end of the building just before the sidewalk comes in there. And what we had to do was take all the bricks off the end of the building, take them down, and then we pounded the grout out of them so that we wouldn't have to worry about matching these bricks. And if you notice, those bricks look as though the same as before, because they were the same bricks. So we were not only thrifty, we were energetic, and we matched it very aesthetically pleasing. So that is kind of the quick story back here. And man, that work together, the unity of it was really awesome. Now what we're gonna do next is just turn the camera around and point to the back, and behind me you see the shed. Where did the shed come from? Well, Wendell Fole, who was a volunteer helping with our junior high at the time, and Wendell and Marianne attending this church, was assigned by Jerry Volk as we were destroying a 2-car garage that's in the space where our current community center is, told Wendell, take these walls and go build a shed for storing lawnmowers and things like that. We couldn't waste those walls that we were tearing down. So that's exactly what Wendell did. It was over here for a while where we have our new parking lot, and then we moved it back over here, and that's the story of the shed. So I briefly mentioned the fact that there was a garage. There was a 2-car garage, and my daughter Kelly, who was a college student back home for a semester, said our youth group needs to have a place to meet, and this garage really isn't being used. So she said, well, can we kind of do something to the garage? And then we talked about, well, maybe we should put in a building, attach it to the garage. And then we decided to knock the garage down and to build this building. And one of the blessings that you see that concrete wall there? And this is the way God has been so faithful and blessed us with these things. That wall was put in by Doug Glee's concrete company. Not only did they pay for all of the concrete work, including the sidewalk that went up the side and the floor inside the community center, but all of the concrete and the labor was all donated at the time. Well, here we stand inside what is now kind of the old lobby storage area. And what it reminds me of, because the original lobby started here at this post, went over here, and where Cooper is looking at me from and where I am standing would have been an outdoor porch. We broke that open, we created the stairway that goes down this way, put windows in, as you can see. This became a bright space instead of a cave, and we put in an elevator for our handicap accessibility, which allowed us to take what had been a window that was turned into a door to turn it back into a window. And this was all done, primarily the work that was done in here was done by Rod Collins, who happened to be between jobs, having sold a business that he was a partner in and having not yet started a new job, and Rod dedicated 2 to 3 months worth of his time just to come in here and do the construction on this room. Obviously, others were helping him as well, but he was here full-time during that period of time. Okay, where I'm standing right now, this beam was put in because this was a wall. And behind here was my office, and then there was a crying room and lobby and library combined. And then in front of that wall, this were very long pews that had been choir pews. There were pews here, and all of the seating in this room was pews. Now we had a drive to put in chairs because we would be able to seat more people, and to remove this wall so that we'd be able to put an additional like 50 chairs back here. And as a result of that, I did get some negative feedback from a young lady who was about 4 or 5 years old who preferred pews because she could sit on her mother's lap if they were in pews. And so she would send me signs, send me the tear off from our bulletin and draw a picture of chairs and put an X across it and then put a picture of a pew and say yes. So there was opposition to this project. When we purchased the building, included in that was an empty space that had been a house. There was a big ditch back here, and there was a lot of brush and stuff in between. And then there was an open lot, and then a house that was still standing, which a member, Jerry Volk, had purchased and was renting out just with a contingency that someday we might need that in order to expand. It turned out that that was needed. We ended up getting that house knocked down, and in fact, because the neighbors were moving out, we were able to purchase what is now the red house that you can't really see from here, that now houses our offices, and then it provided the space for us to be able to do the expansion that is well underway and almost done and almost funded because of the amazing sacrificial giving that people have made. Well, here's a bird's eye view shot, and we have Sean Skirpsky, who's here finishing up some waterproofing on our vent ducting so that hopefully our bricks won't fall off again. And then we have behind me one of our big projects that took the better part of a day and a half of many volunteers to re-roof this side of the building in preparation to connect it to the new lobby, which is right below us from where we're standing now. So another example of volunteers hard at work and things being done. So God has evolved our space, but more than that, He has really changed lives. I am so grateful when I think of people who have been healed in answer to prayer, when I think of lives that have been changed. There have been marriages that have been restored and grown to flourish. There have been people like Cooper Young who have found Christ, whose families have been supported and encouraged, and who are serving the kingdom. How great is it? How faithful is God for what He has done here in the last 23 years? So it looks to me like there's still some work going on today.
There's some still work going on, but this ladder is just symbolic that we are still climbing up rung by rung as a
For
church.
sure.
And so we've only got up to go from here, and that was totally off the cuff, but hey, how exciting was that tour? I learned something. I hope you did too. That is just a taste of what we are going to be celebrating on Sunday. It's going to be a great time. But that's going to do it for CCN. It's been a great Crossroads Community News, and as always, we will
See you later.